Okay, go ahead and get the meeting started.
Terrific, thank you. Okay, welcome to today's Wheels LAVTA meeting here look at the date, on February 7th, 2022. We're holding this meeting virtually in compliance with the state directives for virtual meetings. I'd like to officially call the meeting to order, and if we could start with a roll call of our attendees, members.
Yes, Director Bonanno.
Here.
Vice Chair Habert.
Present.
Director Hernandez.
I'm here.
Director Josie.
Present.
Director Kick. I do not see her in this meeting yet. Director Narum.
Present.
Chair Brown.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Terrific. All right, our next agenda item is meeting open to the public. This is for a chance for members in the audience may address the board of directors on any matter within the general subject matter or jurisdiction of the LAVTA board members. Unless members in the audience submitted a speaker form beforehand, we do ask that you do that if possible. We will be asking you to limiting your opinions and speech to 3 minutes or less. And so we want to hear from you. That's what's really important, is we want to hear from you. So if you have something to share, call in and then use the raised hand feature so we can call on you at the time in our agenda that you wish to speak. So do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on agenda item 3?
So in attendees, I don't see anybody with their hand raised currently. We did receive a public comment for agenda 5E, but we will get to that once you get down to consent. Otherwise, no other public comment. Okay. Our next agenda item is the January Tri-Valley Accessibility Advisory Committee minutes. Do we have anybody from our Accessibility Advisory Committee that would like to speak on agenda item 4? Herb, are you here?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us what you've been talking about in the Accessible Advisory Committee?
Hold on.
You just turned it back.
And I'm supposed to be the geeky kid, okay? These things never work. Hello, everybody. As pretty much most of you know, I'm Herb Hastings, the acting chair of the Accessibility Advisory for the Livermore Valley Transit. We had our previous meeting last month, and the first item was we talked about the procurement contract between County Connection and with Dial Ride to continue their current status of their where they are with continuation of the contract with an RFP. And members had a couple of questions, but we mostly got most of the answers pretty much direct and consistent with the situations. Then we ended up having our report on the satisfaction survey for Dial Ride for the last year, service year. And it's scheduled to be done in December 22. The responses were 20 statements, questionnaires for 2019. So, and that was what we got report on. PACO report was basically the latest report on October's and November's meetings. November, December, we didn't have any meetings. So PACO, we got the report for. Then we went through the service committees, service concerns and bus rides for members. And we got an update on the status of the inactive bus stops. Staff were asked about what's the status on the Golden Gate bus stops that have been inactive for quite a few years. And of course, it's one of my concerns too. I don't know why it's still sitting there with the shelters. And that was really the report of them that I have for now. And then we have our meeting next month.
Okay, thank you. What is a Golden Gate bus stop?
Well, that would be the Golden Gate 30 bus stop over there on Dublin Boulevard, prior to the Golden Gate Shopping Center, where the Civic Center is.
Okay, I see. Over in Dublin. Terrific.
You're-
Thank you.
Yeah, your partner in crime, Dublin's office.
Oh, there. I partner, but not in crime, but thank you. All right, thank you, Herb, for your presentation. Our next agenda item is the consent calendar. And these are agenda items that are normally considered routine in nature and are enacted by a single vote. We did have some public comment on agenda item 5E. It was written and distributed to all of our board members. In the future, if anybody would like to comment about any agenda items, we do at least request that they come into the Wheels LAVTA organization before 1:30 in the afternoon. So do we have anyone, Jennifer, that would like to speak on any of the consent calendar items?
If anybody would like to speak on these agenda items, if they could please raise their hand. Nobody's raising their hand as an attendee. The only public comment that we received was from Stephen Dunbar. And like you said, it's been distributed to the board and for your review, and it'll also be posted online after this meeting.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion and a second, corrections, comments, or any of the above for the consent agenda. Do we have any of our board members who would like to respond? I'll ask again. I'm looking for a motion.
I'm happy to move the consent calendar. I unfortunately did not have a chance to see the email before the meeting started, so I can't speak to the concerns in the public comment letter. So I'm happy to move the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion made by Josie, seconded by Halbert. Any comments before we take a vote?
I
Yes.
have one.
Yes,
I-
Councilmember Norm.
Yeah, I did have a chance to look at the public comment a little bit earlier. It came to me and Michael Tree. And I think there are some, helpful suggestions. I would say it's quality input. Mr. Dunbar, this is one of his areas of expertise, and he often has some interesting comments. So I think that someone on staff should probably take a look and just potentially incorporate some of them. I don't know how that works with respect to passing the consent calendar item at this moment, but I did want to just say that I think their comments worth taking a look at.
Okay, thank you. And Councilmember Narum?
Yeah, just a real quick comment on to staff, and I appreciate the addition of the climate change legislation there, number 3 under federal, that we had asked for in the Finance Committee, just to make sure that we really highlighted the impact of the zero emission buses. That's it for me.
Both great comments. Thank you. All right, seeing no others, we have a motion made by Josie, seconded by Halbert. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Director Bonanno,
Aye.
Vice Chair Halbert,
Aye.
Director Hernandez,
Aye.
Director Josie,
Aye.
Director Kick is still not in this meeting right now. Director Narum,
Aye.
Chair Brown.
Yes, aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, the agenda item 6 is the I-680 corridor projects, which I was driving down I-680 just recently thinking about road expansions and improvements and buses on 680. Could we have a staff report, please? And this is just for information only.
It is. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. So this staff report really is to tee up the grant application that staff is working on with CCTA, or the Contra Costa Transportation Authority. And we've had presentations in the past on the express bus study that was performed by LAVTA. At the encouragement of CalSTA, which is basically your oversight agency for transportation in the state, we've been encouraged to provide an application under the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program. So you often hear the word TIRSIP, and that's that program. It's currently out for applications. They're due at the beginning of March. And so we're working with CCTA to incorporate that 680 express bus service into the application for funding, both from a capital perspective as well as a pair of hydrogen stations. The intent is to procure 6 hydrogen express or over-the-road coaches, and to have a pair of hydrogen stations, one at the northern terminus of where that 680 service would be, and one at the southern or in the LAVTA area. And so that would be the hydrogen station that we would place at the Atlantis operations and maintenance facility that we've been planning. It would not only serve the 6 or half of that express bus fleet that would be hydrogen, they would also serve the LAVTA fleet. It would be a growing fleet of your urban buses. So it would serve both purposes. It also includes, as a component of the grant, the maintenance facility where we can maintain those express buses that are hydrogen. Also has a few other components to it, mobility hubs along the 680 corridor to help people with first last mile transitions into that express bus system. And it also includes, interestingly, a component for a future hydrogen plant, which would be a project overseen by the Tri-Valley San Joaquin Valley Regional Rail Authority, which long-term can provide the hydrogen fuel for not only LAVTA and the Valley Link project, but for a multitude of other public agencies, which could include AC Transit, County Connection, Tri-Delta, Stockton RTD, and so on. So there's several project partners that are part of this application, giving it a real regional perspective, which is really attractive for CalSTA. Just as a review again, the Contra Costa Transportation Authority is taking the lead on the application, and then the project partners with them are LAVTA, the Central Contra Costa Transit Authority, also known as County Connection, and then the Tri-Valley San Joaquin Valley Regional Rail Authority. So it's an informational item. Again, the grant's due at the beginning of March, and we'll keep you posted on it. It doesn't require that the LAVTA board approve a resolution. Hence we have it simply as an informational item.
Okay, do we have any questions on this agenda item? I have one, Mr. Tree. If since the Atlantis is a site that we're hoping to do a new building and move some of our offices for Wheels LAVTA offices over to that location, is that a requirement for this hydrogen station, or can it be done prior to any improvements and developments we have in that region?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a requirement. So I think you have a lot of flexibility in how you develop your maintenance facility and your admin and operations facility. There's several funding sources that could ultimately be the funding sources to get those projects done. So I see it as you having lots of flexibility as an agency.
Terrific. All right, thank you. All right, well, I very appreciate your presentation now, and good stuff, bringing all these transit agencies together to work for our community and for our residents. We're looking for agenda item 7, which is the executive director's report. Do you have anything to report?
So we did do several write-ups here to kind of bring you up to speed on projects that we're working on. I think the highlights certainly would be, if I had to call out a few that are right around the corner from the board, looking and helping staff with developing the project, certainly your 22-23 fiscal year budget. I think there's several things in play there. You have a difficult labor market, so it's likely that we'll make some recommendations to the board in regard to operator wages and other wages to be competitive. You've got, for the first time in a while, a rising fuel market, which has caught staff's attention. So we're likely, as we address how to plan for the increases in fuel prices, that'll be a main discussion point for your budget, and then how to implement the zero emission bus technology. And again, we're hopeful that most of that particular piece we obtain, funding wise through state and federal grants, but the matches will certainly have an impact. So interesting times, and I think we'll spend a little more time this year on the budget with the board to make sure you see the impact of some of these trends. I think Tony's on, your director of planning, and he's been working on the Memorial Madden Cruiser. And we were kind of, everything was in motion when the agenda went out. So I put that would provide an update at the board meeting. Tony, you have a few thoughts there on where we're at with that project?
Sure do. So the folks that are on the P&S committee probably are aware of what this is about, but maybe the finance committee folks don't. But at a December 29th meeting of the Projects and Services Committee, that happened to be the day following John Madden's passing. And Chair Brown brought up the fact that someone in Pleasanton had come up to her and said, hey, it'd be really nice if the city of Pleasanton would name a street after John Madden, kind of like Livermore did for the car hop in at A&W. And I said, well, it might be neat to name a bus after him, since he went everywhere by bus. The Madden Cruiser was kind of a famous vehicle. And then Chair Brown followed up with, well, why don't you find out what that would cost, see if there's maybe a sponsor we could find. And so step one was to go to Lamar Transit Advertising, the folks that do the sale, production, installation of all the ads on our buses, and get a price tag for that component. And they came back with $6,500 for production and installation, and they offered to comp the design. So they would do the design for free. If I came up with the copy and found some images, they do the design for free. So found some images, wrote the copy, give it to Lamar to start working on. And then in the process of looking at images, most every image that you would ever want to use is licensed for use by a company called Getty Images. And you pay a price for the length of time that you want to use that image and how you want to use that image. And so for the particular image that we were looking to use originally, which was a picture of John Madden getting carried out after they won the Super Bowl, that was going to cost $3,500 for one-time use of 2 or 3 months, up to $4,500 for 2 years. So the next step was Getty Images wanted to see the design. They wanted to approve the design. So had to wait for Lamar to finish the design. Design went to Getty Images, and they said, okay, we're okay with this design. Now you need to get permission from the Las Vegas Raiders, because they're no longer the Oakland Raiders. And those jerseys say Oakland Raiders, and you need permission from the Las Vegas Raiders. So then I asked them, okay, do you have a contact name with the Las Vegas Raiders? And they said, well, we'll find you one and get back to you. I waited a week. They didn't respond. I asked them again. They didn't respond after 3 or 4 days. So I just went to the Raiders website, looked around for names, found a director of public relations who happened to attend St. Mary's in close to here, and but their email addresses were not accessible on their website. So some more detective work to find out the naming convention for their email addresses. And turns out that it's first initial last name at raiders.com. So if you ever want to send an email to somebody at the Raiders like Mark Davis, just mdavis@raiders.com will probably get there. So I sent them an email last Monday, which also happened to coincide with their press conference announcing their brand new head coach, Josh McDaniels, and their new general manager. So I was not really expecting a quick turnaround from the folks in public relations. But lo and behold, the next day, I get an email that says, hey, this is a great thing you're doing. And I had also put in there that, you know, editorially, Getty Images was kind of a pain in the butt to work with. And did they have any access to photos that we could possibly use at no charge? And they sent me an image and said, feel free to use this, no charge. And so then I gave that to Lamar, and they did a production with that image on it. And when Lamar found out that the Raiders gave us the image without a charge, they also said, we'll waive our charges too. And so now we stand today with a design. And Jennifer, I think if you can pop it up on the screen, the board can see what it is going to look like.
Well, I love it.
I love it too.
Oh my gosh.
That
Oh
looks
my
really
gosh.
good.
Tony,
That's-
you're amazing. Oh, wow.
That's fabulous. And I like that even better than the first image, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Actually, this image was the image that was on the exterior of the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas the day following his passing. They had this up on their external
'Cause it was
stadium
free.
board.
It was free. That's why they couldn't afford a deal with Getty.
That's
they used
right.
this one.
That's right.
Hey, Tony, next time
Yeah.
you can just call District 1. We probably could have gotten you a quicker number.
Yes, what a good figuring it all out. What's the pattern? M. Davis at Raiders.com.
Yeah, first initial, last name.
Nice job, Tony.
Thank you. So this actually, I approved the design with Lamar last Thursday, and the Raiders organization, both the vice president of public relations and the vice president of media and entertainment both sent me emails saying, this is a great thing you guys are doing. Thanks a lot. So they were very pleased with the design as well.
And how long can we run this bus with this image?
As long as we want.
Oh, I love it.
There was no time limit given to us by the Raiders.
And no 6,500 plus 4,500.
Our cost is exactly $0.00.
It's $11,000. We went just, wow. Thank you. Thank you. This is so cool. And
It was interesting and
yeah,
exciting project. Very challenging, but to get all this done in a month was quite nice. And hoping to see the design or the installation quickly. They said they were going to put a rush job on it, but I said it's more important that it look nice than you do a rush job. So we'll see when it comes in.
It is amazing. And it's going to be going, we don't want this to go up 680 to Fairfield. We want it to stay in the Tri-Valley.
No, and we were talking about it this morning that we'll just alternate this among all the routes so all the cities get to see it. We'll have it on like the Route 10 and the Route 30 and maybe some of the school trippers. So everybody will have a chance to ride on it and see it.
So many people didn't even know he lived here in Pleasanton too. And he was a long time resident of the Tri-Valley. So that is very, I love that you approved it without even coming to the board because you knew we'd love it. You knew it.
Hey, Tony, great job. I do help, can't help but wonder though, should we share with AC Transit for Oakland route?
They're welcome to go to their advertising agency, and maybe their relationship with the Raiders might not be as smooth as ours, but I don't know. You mean share this bus?
No, I mean, just give them the connection. Just say, this is what we're doing, by the way.
Oh.
And if you want to follow up, here's who to call. It just might mean, I don't want to take anything away from the Tri-Valley. Yeah, the Madden family's huge here in the Tri-Valley. They lived here in the Tri-Valley. But I just know that emotionally, the residents of Oakland may also feel we may brighten their day if they see this. I don't know, but AC Transit might know, and rather than, just give a heads up.
I'll be sure to do that. One of the reasons why I also wanted to tell Lamar to get it installed as quickly as they could is I'm sure that some of you are aware that next Monday, at the Oakland Coliseum, they are holding a kind of a celebration of life or some sort of an event for John Madden. And as I told Lamar, if this bus is completed before next Monday, it would be a really neat thing if it was to make an appearance at the Oakland Coliseum and people could see it.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. All right. We have some comments, questions from Director Josie. Oh, wait, sorry. We have Director Josie's ahead of you.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, I don't think I was. I think Director Bonanno had her hand up before I did.
Wait, so the computer orders it, but either way. Director Bonanno, fine.
I just was wondering how much of this has been communicated to the family members, and whether if it doesn't work out for Monday at the Coliseum, is there going to be kind of a christening? And I'm sure you guys have thought about that. Just wondering, I'm sure I'm sure the family is going to be thrilled with it, and maybe you've already reached out to them. Just curious about that.
I did reach out to Goal Line Productions, which one of the sons is the owner of that company. Haven't gotten a response back. Madden family email addresses are even more difficult to find than the Las Vegas Raiders email addresses. So
we have a lot of connections with Mike Madden in Livermore, because his company Red Bear has done a lot of development in Livermore, and I think we could probably get you a phone number. Would be great for them to know that this is happening. If they don't know it's happening, it would be great if they did. I'm sure they'll be thrilled. Do you want me to try to get that to you?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will do my very best. It may come via Mayor Warner, but we can get that to you for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we could do a little press event. That'd be fun. Director Narum.
I was just going to say, I have Mike Madden's phone number, Tony, so I can give it to you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a long story, but the net of it is that the Madden family and my family share a CPA. So.
A CPA that gives out phone numbers?
No. His office was in the Red Bear office. So when I dropped my stuff off, our stuff off, John was often there, hanging out all his trophies, and the memorabilia is all there. It's a pretty interesting lobby to browse in.
Love it. Love it.
So I'll email that, Tony, I guess.
Thank you.
Awesome. Wonderful. This is just such a good idea. I know that Supervisor Halbert was in on the projects and services discussion, as well as Director Josie. So lots of good stuff. Lots of good, really exciting. Okay. That is, we still have the Atlantis operations and maintenance in the executive report. Is there any more on that?
Yeah, that they're working behind the scenes to get that 60% design done, so that project can literally, it's scheduled to be a design build project. So at that point, it would literally be in a position to be an RFP to go out. So I think in the near future, the board should be receiving an update on that project, how things are going with it.
Shared autonomous vehicles project.
Yeah, as mentioned in the staff report, we're looking to phase 2, which is probably 18 to 24 months out. It would include the faster vehicles, which will be a big plus for making it, a service that's competitive. In the meantime, as we look at that 18 to 24 month window for starting that phase 2, we're looking at other options that might be available to the board. There's a couple of different companies out there in the marketplace that provide passenger service with these shared autonomous vehicles that have been really interested in having an intermediate phase in between phase 1 and 2, where we get a shared autonomous vehicle out on the roadway and into passenger service. It won't have all of the more maturely developed autonomous vehicle technology that our phase 2 will have, but could offer some opportunities to get a vehicle into passenger service and begin to build that customer base for phase 2. So Tone's been working on that, and we've been analyzing a couple of different business plans to that effect that we're hoping to bring to the P&S committee in the near future to take a look at.
And any comments on the paratransit proposal?
Only that it's on the street and the proposals are due in early April. So we're anticipating that we've got some good information for you there as you come into your April board meeting. And it's probably worth noting, as you'll recall, that the P&S committee will be looking at the surveying that we did, the customer service surveys that really took a deep dive into how folks, what they think of the quality of the system with the pilot project that we've been participating in with County Connection. So that'll be a bulky agenda item for the P&S, and then we'll bring that to the board at your next meeting.
And my last question is, you saw an 11% below ridership figures. This is your first paragraph ridership, and I wondered what you could contribute to that 11%. Is it, do you believe, Omicron, or is there something else?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot at the staff level when we meet on Monday mornings. In particular, we usually take a deep dive into what's happened the previous week and the previous month with ridership. And I think that was the general consensus, is that ridership number really is applicable during that time period when a lot of the employers, such as LAVTA, were basically asking people to work from home for a period of time.
Yeah.
A ramp up over what was normally a work from home environment.
Don't you love that commute? Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
You bet.
Do we have any questions on the executive report? And anybody from the public wanting to speak on this item?
I don't see anybody in the public with their hand raised right now, and we didn't get any public comment via email.
Okay, great, thank you. I assume we didn't get any on the buses, but so exciting. All right, so our next meeting is scheduled for March.
Somebody just raised their hand.
Oh, just in the nick of time.
Hold on one second.
Yep, it's me again. Yeah, it's me. The question was regarding the autonomous, and I'm already request Tone make a presentation for it on the advisory committee meeting, and we would like to have the current status of the progress as well.
Okay, so noted.
That was new news. That's new news to me, because it's been a while since we've had this topic for a while. That's all. Thank you.
And yes, we need to make sure it's compatible with people of all different abilities. Okay, terrific. Thank you. And seeing no other comments, I'll close the public hearing on that and wrap up our meeting. The next scheduled meeting is March 7th at 4 p.m. This meeting's adjourned. Thanks.